All right, let's turn to some slightly more significant news here. We had a huge victory for the United Auto Workers specifically, but the labor movement in general coming out of this Volkswagen plant in Tennessee. So this was the third time that workers at this plant had attempted to unionize. This time, with the landscape quite a bit different and quite a bit more pro-union, the workers prevailed in historic fashion. Let's start off by taking a listen to what some of the workers had to say in their own words, courtesy of More Perfect Union.
UAW! All I want to say is that we did it. Y'all showed up and y'all showed out. I was at the counter, all you heard was yes, 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 landslide.
You know, many of the talking heads and the pundits have said to me repeatedly before we announced this campaign, you can't win in the South. They said Southern workers aren't ready for it. They said non-union auto workers didn't have it in them. But you all said, watch this.
That last person you were listening to there, Sean Fain, the new president of the United Auto Workers, who has made an aggressive push, not only taking a bold stance going out on strike with regard to the big three contract negotiations, but in the wake of that victory, saying, listen, we're going to organize the South. We're going to go after foreign automakers. This has basically not happened successfully before in American history. And so far, it's looking pretty good for them. Let's go ahead and put this next piece up on the screen. Was not even close. 73% voted yes, 27% voted no. And again, keep in mind, this is a plant that had voted twice before in 2017, I believe, in 2019, and had rejected unionization. Now, with the wins that you saw, you know, Starbucks, Teamsters, UAW, with a more favorable climate amongst the public in favor of unions, with a more favorable National Labor Relations Board. This time the result is totally different. And the next up, they have a vote in mid-May down in Alabama at a Mercedes plant that apparently they feel pretty good about too. So it's astonishing, Saagar.
Not just that. So not only did they have 73% who cast in favor, but they had 84% voter participation. So
wow.
Of the 84% of the 4,300 eligible workers in the plant actually participated. This is the first vote in the South. They're saying the first time a Southern auto plant outside the three Detroit automakers has ever been organized by UAW. This, of course, makes sense because we have Volkswagen, BMW, Toyota, and all this, which are blanketed across the American South with a lot of manufacturing jobs and cars that have been strategically placed there because of right-to-work laws. Now, the question is about how that's going to change from this point forward. The Wall Street Journal even talks here about that there's less than 400,000 workers last year who are inside UAW. That is 75% less than where they were in the 1970s. So for them to have wins like this that grow for the future actually sets up that we're probably at the low point of U.S. union membership than ever before and likely to go up. And one of the reasons it's fun, at least, to cover this story, this might be the only rare piece of good news in our entire show. So we absolutely wanted to include it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And yeah, you can see the way the historic wins have changed. Like, there's a huge backlash now against, you know, we saw in COVID how these companies were screwing workers over. They were risking their lives. They were making money hand over fist. They continue to make record-breaking profits and not pass it on to consumers, let alone their workers, continue to, you know, corporate price gouging, et cetera. And people are through with it to the extent that even, you know, in a state like Tennessee, where the politician, the political class there is overwhelmingly hostile to unions, you had a bunch of Southern governors come out against this union drive. They've been threatened with, oh, they're going to close the plant, et cetera, et cetera. Those things just don't matter. And then, you know, you also just have this momentum now that's so important. Because previously, when workers saw just, you know, concessionary contract, union loss after union loss, and the union base shrinking, it wasn't very compelling to join a union. When you see what the big three workers are getting, you're like, I do the same job. Why the hell shouldn't I be getting the same type of pay, the same type benefits and have that similar type of life. So we'll see what happens in Alabama next. And speaking to that, that momentum and this sense of solidarity across not just the auto industry, but a bunch of different, variety of industries, white collar, blue collar, service sector, et cetera. One worker said he was actually inspired by the writers' strike, which we thought was kind of interesting. Let's take a listen to that.
When all the labor strikes first, like the writers and stuff like that, I was a communications major in college. And so seeing the writers go on strike and standing up for their rights, I was so excited about that. And then seeing there's a part of us that when we'd be talking about this, just secretly in the back of our minds, was like, man, I wonder if auto workers, if we're going to start seeing something like that here.
You can see the way these things have a momentum of their own, and I think it's, the horse is out of the barn. I think you're right, Saagar, that we've seen now the low point in terms of population union density, and it really matters because having workers have a little bit of say in their workplace, it's good not only for those particular workers, but it helps to set the standards across industries and across the entire labor pool in the U.S. So very heartening to see this. Congratulations to these workers who risked a lot, by the way, to organize here and stuck their neck out, and now they get to have a say in their workplace. Yeah, the big question is going to be obviously the spread, whether this will go to Toyota, apparently Honda, Hyundai, and other foreign car manufacturers all across the American South. So this is one, and but this obviously is like a signal that goes out across that. But we also shouldn't forget, as we covered previously, it's not like the state governments aren't going to fight back against this. Alabama, Tennessee, all these other places, they're going to use everything in their disposal to try and to quash any of these future votes. Yeah, the last thing I'll mention here is Volkswagen. They are used to dealing with unions in their European locations. And so the reports are they were, less hostile to unionization efforts than other automakers like Tesla, for example, may be. So that could be a key factor here as well. But the fact that this victory was so resounding, the fact that this same plant had lost 2 separate votes and now votes 73% for a union really does show you that we are living in a different era now. Things have decidedly changed. Absolutely. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet. That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations. So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.